He's checked in for Carmelo Anthony. And it's Tony Wroten in for Aaron Aflalo. The Nuggets trail by 12.
And getting back to Jose Calderon, he's been an extremely efficient shooter for a point guard, 48% from the field throughout his career. But last season, he couldn't hit it at all. I mean, he dropped down to 41%.
And here is Wroten following the three-pointer by Freak. Three-pointer. Wroten, no good. There's a minute 34 left in the first quarter of the game. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
And looking now at some numbers for Jose Calderon. Over the last 10 games or so, he's really shown up. He's putting up 13 points a game, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. And some pretty good numbers, guys. He's certainly making a contribution.
Better than expected. He still has a ways to go, but I like what I'm seeing right now.
That free throw good from Barton.
And, you know, on the topic of Jose Calderon, his game is predicated on getting others involved. Last season, he had Carmelo Anthony to throw it to, and really pretty much no one else. So defenders could key on him a little more, causing him, I thought, to become just a little less efficient.
1:30 left to play here in the first. And here is Wroten. Last time out, he had 13 points.
Almost no chance of that shot going in.
Yeah, there were a lot of other places he could have gone with the basketball instead of forcing that shot up.
And that one's good. Freak. So for the Nuggets, their last game. The loss to the Bulls.
And really, given how they performed offensively, guys, they just never had a chance.
Yeah, and you can see their frustration growing and growing as they continue to come up empty on their possessions. By the end, they were just happy to watch the clock wind down and move on.
A nice run they put together here to bring it a little closer.
Yeah, they got hot, and I didn't think I'd be saying this a little while ago, but now this game's up for grabs.
There's 38 seconds left to play in the first. Nelson kicks to Freak. Wide open. Rebound by Williams.
You know what? You just cannot get much better of a look than that one.
Exactly. I mean, no way you expect him to miss that shot. He's been anything but his usual self this quarter. It's actually been ugly to see.
Great. Quarter for him at the offensive end, trying to will his team back in the game.
Here's Wroten from 11 feet away. And a wide open look for Freak. He got it up that time, but it wouldn't fall for him. A nice first quarter of play. We've seen plenty of offense so far. Knicks out front, up by 2. And the second quarter will get underway just after this short break. Transitioning from college to the pros can be a challenge for many players. Here's what Freak had to say about adjusting his game to the end. Good points, Clark, but rolled. Kyle O'Quinn, he's checked in for Lopez. Derek Williams comes in for Porzingis. And it's Calderon in for Aaron Aflalo. So on the floor for Denver. Freak in at point guard. Nurkic is out there with Wilson Chandler. Then it's Will Barton, and it's Harris in at the 2 guard. Shot clock at 6, and they take the lead. And that's 13 points for Freak.
You know, maybe he's not one of the elite sharpshooters, but even still, that's not a shot that D can afford to give him.
Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris?
Well, Kev, Freak in the last matchup against the Bulls was not his usual self. He ended with a few points, and he also added a few assists as he set up his teammates as well. A trend sort of developing now. It's been a streak of less than stellar games. These are hard sometimes to break out of, and we'll... watching to see him try to do just that, Kevin.
Great job, Doris, as always. Thank you. Well, not the kind of performance they count on great from him.
And that's the thing. I mean, they count on him heavily. When he fails to come through, then that's when you end up with the losses.
Sure thing. I mean, it's always going to be very difficult for them to pull out a win when he has the kind of game he did in that one, guys.
Some of the great passing small forwards in the NBA on your screen right now. These are the assist leaders at that position in the past month. Fifth, Carmelo Anthony.
The passes we've seen some of these guys make from the wing, just outstanding, truly gifted distributors.
I tell you what, you could put the isolated cam on these guys and you would notice how flawlessly they execute those entry passes. They create so many easy baskets in the low post because of how on time and on target those feeds are.
Here's Barton. And good. Got the friendly bounce off the right side of the rim. And the Nuggets lead by 4. New York's gotten into trouble with the 3-ball. In the second quarter, only hitting 1 of 5 attempts. Dishes it to Roten. New York moving it around. Williams, a screen on Nelson. Calderon has the open look. Can't hit. Now Denver takes it the other way.
And mark that one down right there. It's going to be a long time until we see him miss another one like that.
He's played an important role in their offense today, guys. Without him, they may not be in the lead.
Here's Roten. He's had some playing time, but no scoring yet from him. Nurkic with the steal. It's 3-on-3 on the fast break. Here's Barton. Good, and a nice assist from Nelson. And it's an 8-point Denver lead.
Wow, that's a really smooth finish.
That's why we and they always love seeing him at the end of those breaks. He makes it look fun and easy.
No coverage that time.
Shooting lots more threes here in the second.
And given their percentages, I'm not sure that's a good idea. They've struggled to connect from the perimeter.
Calderon with it. Here's Roten. And we've reached halftime in this one. Nuggets lead by 6. And now let's catch up with Doris Burke, who's standing by on the sideline. Doris?
Well, Jose, you started out strong, and then momentum shifted in that second quarter. What happened, and what do you need to do in the second half?
The only problem, we could finish this half a little bit better, but we got to work on that. I think we know what we have to do against this team to be successful, so we got to be back to the principle we did in the first quarter as well.
It's all about sustaining what you do well. Jose, thanks for the time. Gentlemen?
Thanks so much, Doris, and we'll step away briefly, but get you right back in there for the start. We have a close ball game on our hands as we get set for the second half of basketball. You look at Freak in this game, he has been everywhere.
Yeah, you just love it when the decision-making is as good as it was there in that first half. Didn't force anything.
Guys, I think here in the second half, though, they may want him to be a little more assertive. Start hunting more for his shot, even the tough one.
the Knicks. Kyle O'Quinn, he's checked in for Lopez. Thomas comes in for Porzingis. Williams, he's checked in for Anthony. And Roten subbed in for Jose Calderon. Lance Thomas out there with Williams. Then there's Kyle O'Quinn. Then there's Afflalo. And it's Roten in at the point. So that's who's on the floor for the Knicks. Here's Freak. Knocks down the three ball.
Come on now, let's go.
Freak's got 20 points.
That's a layup for him. He's just too open.
Pass to Williams. Denver grabs the miss.
You can see he just rushed that a little bit. Lost the focus, I think.
Freak passes to Barton. Williams with the steal. And now Williams running the floor all by himself.
What handle? He broke the D down to the ground with that move.
First personal foul, team score.
And let's quickly check out the scoring breakdown here for the Nuggets.
You know, with their fast break operating so efficiently, I mean, you can see why they've gone with it throughout the game.
And how about the work they're doing also on the offensive glass? Creating those extra opportunities has been critical. And you guys, he was once considered a tweener, but now I think Derrick Williams has kind of settled in to that 4 position. Seems to be the best position fit for him at this stage of his career.
Last year, Williams did find a nice niche playing the 4.
One shot.
Still, his minutes and numbers, Clark, remain low.
Well, it's unfair because he was drafted so high, top 5 when he came out, and I don't think he'll ever live up to that draft position. The highlight dunks are great, but he's got to find other ways to continue to grow.
And that one's good. Roten.
Knicks losing, 44.
For the New York Knicks, they come in off the loss to the Grizzlies.
And you don't have to go too deep into the box score to figure out why they lost that when they just had an inability on that day to make shots.
You know, sometimes we talk about a defense getting into the heads of the opposing players, Greg, but that night, they got up in their own heads, just got in their own way and couldn't get out of it.
And the Nuggets making a change here. Fareed is checked in. And Afflalo wide open. He shoots. Off the mark. Had a chance to trim it to single digits.
He's lost it in this quarter, no doubt about it. Nothing seems to be going for him.
Freak dishes to Chandler. Screen by Fareed. Chandler kicks to Barton. Marries. From three-point range. Barton's got the lead up to 13 now for the Nuggets.
Good job. Nice job by Fareed to lay into that defender. Put some wood on him with that screen.
Thomas, that's good.
And that's the kind of lead pass we've come to expect from him.
Denver's gotten the three-pointer to fall to the tune of 50% here in the third quarter. They've made 3 of 6 from past the arc, and it's Freak missing. And it's Afflalo penetrating, and there are the Knicks with another bucket.
Knicks track, 48-57.
Freak. He got it! Wow! He caught it!
My